We will continue to secure the country, manage it properly, and fight corruption.
President Buhari in Abia and Imo states receives endorsements as he promises more infrastructure for the Southeast geopolitical zone.
Tripartite committee that was set up by Mr. President actually did recommend 30,000 as the minimum wage.
House of Representatives passes the new National Minimum Wage Amendment Bill, adopts 30,000 naira as benchmark. National Judicial Council queries Justices Onoga and Muhammad, gives the juries 7 days to respond. Plus, worrisome statistics as Nigeria launches a national drug use survey. Good evening and welcome. This is the Network News at 9, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. Jennifer Igwe is in our Lagos Network studio, and Asma'u Habibu Shagari is in Sokoto. President Muhammadu Buhari says with the common good of all as its cardinal objective, the governing All Progressives Congress APC has proven that party differences and constitutional limitations are never barriers to the execution of people-centered policies and programs. Inaugurating an independent power plant for Area Market in commercial city of Abia State as part of the Energizing Economies initiatives, President Buhari said electricity in particular has no political color. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president also met with the chairman of the Abia State Council of Chiefs, the A1 of Abba, where he was endorsed for re-election.
It was a milestone connection of 4,000 shops in Area Market with dedicated power supply as part of efforts to strengthen the Made in Nigeria policy. All the 37,000 shops in the market will be connected one after the other towards enhancing the production and delivery of shoes, bags, clothing, trucks, and many household accessories to Nigeria and many other countries. President Muhammadu Buhari said reliable power supply is critical for ease of doing business.
I am told that before this intervention, traders in this market only got power for 4 hours a day and paid exorbitantly for it, which consequently affected the viability of many businesses. That is the sad lethargy was inherited, by which we are replacing with all-day power supply that is cleaner and better for environment. Those who turn their backs on these problems still have the courage to campaign about unemployment and poverty. Nothing they say can change what we have done here to provide relief where they perpetrated neglect.
President Muhammadu Buhari said methodically and efficiently his administration is cleaning up the mess inherited by moving the nation's economy away from rent and arbitrage to the one that rewards investment, enterprise, and hard work.
To all the traders, businessmen and women in this market, I say well done for contributing to national productivity and job creation. I salute your fortitude over the years when no previous government attended to your concerns. I assure that now we are here, you will experience better days and prosperity as African markets await more of your products.
I want to say also that we are happy that you allowed 50,000 pairs of military boots to be ordered from these ordinary people here. There is no better way to care for them At 10,000, that means 500 million naira injected into the economy of area market.
A similar clean, independent, and reliable power to markets and small businesses is also happening in Kano, Lagos, Ondo, and Ibadan, as well as 9 federal universities through government funding where jobs are also being created.
Your Excellency, this is ease of doing business. Some of the things you have not heard is that there used to be 6,000 supplying power in an inefficient way.
President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier paid homage on the NU1 of Abia as Isaac Ikonne to solicit royal blessings as he seeks the renewal of his mandate from the nation's voting populace. He pledged to provide more infrastructure to the southeast zone as a further impetus to the spirit of hard work, industry, and competitiveness for which Igbos are known. For the NU1 of Abia and Chairman Abia State Council of Traditional Rulers, Dr. Isaac Ikonne, it was a formal endorsement for the second-term bid of the president, whom he said genuinely loved Nigeria and need to return for consolidation of the Change Nigeria enterprise.
Let me use this occasion to call upon all Igbos, wherever they are, to support President Muhammadu Buhari and vote for him massively.
The Secretary General of the Igbo Social-Cultural Group, Ohaneze Ndibo, also endorsed the Nigerian leader, describing him as a true Ohaneze candidate.
Ndibo cannot be against you because you're not against Ndibo.
Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration will continue to pay more attention to safeguard Nigeria's resources for the benefit of all. The president stated this at the APC presidential campaign rally in Umuahia, the Abia state capital. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi monitored the rally and now reports.
In continuation of its nationwide campaigns, the APC presidential team was received at the Eyimba International Stadium, Umuahia, by a large crowd of APC supporters and fans of President Muhammadu Buhari. To the people of the state, President Muhammadu Buhari remains a committed leader whose administration's policies are dynamic in building a strong and inclusive democracy.
Abia people, our popularity will be tested on 16th of February. Are we ready? What we need in leadership are men or women, statesmen, who are broad-minded, who accept Nigeria as their own constituency, as President Muhammadu Buhari has done.
President Muhammadu Buhari says, in addition to the key agenda of fighting corruption, boosting the economy, as well as securing the nation, paying attention to critical infrastructure remains a priority of his government beyond 2019.
Are doing the roads now. We are doing the railways, which was neglected and virtually killed. And we are doing power, and is one of the projects that I came to commission here today. I assure you of what I believe, that if we get the infrastructure correct, the roads, the rail, power, Nigeria will mind their own businesses. I expect you this time around to vote APC.
APC flags were presented to the party's candidates who have been encouraged to work for victory in the forthcoming polls. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Still on politics, about 22 chairmen of different political parties, including the leader of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Abga, and the new PDP in Imo State have defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. This was part of the highlights at the APC presidential rally in Owerri. Again, political correspondent Saliu Abdullahi reports.
While in Owerri, the Imo State capital, President Muhammadu Buhari appealed to the people to be peaceful in their conduct before, during, and after the polls, and assured that his administration remains committed to taking Nigeria to the next level of development as demonstrated within the last 3.5 years. He reminded the people to remain focused in nurturing their ambition in search of purposeful leadership to the governing APC and ensure the victory of all its candidates during the polls.
I assure you that the government will continue to support you, and the market money that is being conducted by the Vice President again is having a positive effect. We will continue to secure the country, manage it properly, and fight corruption.
The chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and the host governor, Rochas Okorocha, reaffirmed that Igbos are solidly behind the second-term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari.
And it is not right to say that Buhari does not love Igbo. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
National chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, made it clear that the party is not in alliance with any other political party in the state.
We have the people, we have the men, and above all, we have God to support the choice of APC members to fly the flag of our party for the governorship of this state in the person of distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma.
Those who believe in the president is to try to behave and learn how to live like Mr. President, how to excuse corruption, how to recognize the moral upgrowth.
Flags were thereafter presented to APC candidates Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Back to Abuja, Senate leader and member of the All Progressives Congress, Ahmed Lawan, says right now expectations of the people is for the Senate to support President Muhammadu Buhari and his programs aimed at improving the lives of Nigerians. State House correspondent Jide Onifade takes it from here.
Speaking after a meeting of the APC caucus in the Senate with President Muhammadu Buhari, Senator Ahmed Lawan dissociates the APC caucus from an alleged approach by the Senate to the Supreme Court.
We have never given our consent to anybody to approach the Supreme Court. We stand by what our administration has done. We stand by Mr. President. We believe that he had taken the right step, he had taken the right decision, and therefore we stand by him.
Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshomole, makes similar call to the diplomatic community on the matter.
Nigeria is not a colony. We will not accept any foreign interference in the internal affairs of Nigeria. When they dismiss judges in Europe, judges have been dismissed in the United States. They'll be dismissed across the world when they are found guilty of corruption. And the Western world cannot, on the one hand, when it suits them, describe Nigeria as fantastically corrupt. And when a corrupt judicial officer is being charged, people want to interfere.
Nasarawa State Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura says impediments found in governance have been sorted out so that Nigeria can be piloted to the next level and placed in enviable position in the Committee of Nations.
Seeing the commitment and loyalty of the caliber of senators now in the Red Chamber, it has given us tremendous amount of hope that yes, Nigeria has come to be, to have people who are committed, who are selfless, who are patriotic, to support the president in ensuring that this country is taken to the next level.
The whole idea of the dinner is for President Muhammadu Buhari to have a direct interaction with the senators and the senatorial candidates of the APC to work hard and to ensure that on the basis of one man, one vote, the outcome of the 2019 elections will be in favor of the party. From the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The Yoruba nation has endorsed the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari in the next month's presidential election. The motion for the endorsement was moved and supported at the Pan-Yoruba Summit convened by the Afenifere in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Kemi Akiwande reports.
The Vice President received a copy of the motion endorsing the second-term bid of President Muhammadu Buhari from the Yoruba leaders. He assured Nigerians that another term for President Buhari promises consolidation on gains so far achieved.
We are also a part of this federation. We deserve whatever it is that anybody else gets in the federation. And for that
summit unanimously addressed issues and plans to ensure victory for the APC, which Yoruba leaders said will guarantee abundance for Yoruba people and Nigerians.
When the presidential election will be conducted, by the grace of God, we shall return our president and our vice president to serve for a second term.
I'm one of those people who believe that we need some structuring in this country, particularly people of same mind coming together to think of moving their own part of the nation forward.
Every opportunity to bring ourselves together to discuss common issues and issues of the nation as it affects our race. It's always a welcome development.
The structure is very germane. It's something that is high time for us, and it's very pivotal for our development. That is the only way to put Nigeria together.
A letter restructuring for harmonious and optimal socioeconomic development, prospects and challenges, affirmed an opportunity to canvass for true federalism.
So this lecture is throwing light, especially the areas, specific areas where there is a demand by majority of Nigerians for some changes to take place in the constitution of the country.
The summit was attended by leaders and members of Afenifere from across the 6 states in the southwest. In Ibadan, Kemi Akinwande, NTA News.
Sharing news for the Nigerian workers as the House of Representatives pegs the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira. Details when we return. Thank you for remaining with the NTA. The House of Representatives has passed the National Minimum Wage Amendment Bill and adopted 30,000 naira as the new minimum wage for workers in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Laimi Ali reports.
At the commencement of plenary Tuesday, the ad hoc committee set up to collate information from stakeholders on the National Minimum Wage Bill, chaired by Deputy Speaker Yusuf Lasson, presented the committee's report and gave reasons for its recommendations.
The tripartite committee that was set up by Mr. President actually did recommend 30,000 as the minimum wage.
The House, after consideration of the report, adopted and passed the bill.
We have considered the report and effectively passed this into law, subject to what the Senate will do. If the Senate accepts our position, then we are done and dusted.
The lawmakers also passed for second reading the 2019 appropriation bill of more than 8.8 trillion naira and referred it to the House Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action, while all standing committees are to serve as subcommittees. In the meantime, the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, formally announced his defection, and 2 other members of the House of Representatives from APC to PDP. The House thereafter adjourned plenary to Tuesday, 19th February 2019. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The National Judicial Council has queried Justice Walter Onogen and Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad following petitions received against the 2 justices of the Supreme Court. This is part of the outcome of the emergency meeting of Nigeria's apex judicial body, the NJC. Judicial correspondent Femi Okyowo reports.
The National Judicial Council is now in receipt of a formal petition. Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen. That is the ingredient that the nation's apex judicial body requires to trigger action over the allegations of false assets declaration by the CJN. And in spite of the urgency of the matter, which made it necessary to call for an emergency meeting, the NJC could only do what its rules allow it to do: issue a query to the concerned parties and, for the sake of fair hearing, give them 7 days to respond. The days were abridged from the normal 14 days to 7. The NJC also received 2 petitions against the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, for making himself available to be sworn in without the recommendation of the NJC. He too was given 7 days to respond. Some concerned parties also wrote petitions against the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar. His petition was referred to the Federal Judicial Service Commission, which is the appropriate constitutional body empowered to deal with it. Both Onogen and Mohammed recused themselves from the meeting. Consequently, former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Umaru Abdullahi, was elected as interim chairman to preside. The meeting reconvenes on Monday, the 11th of February. No doubt what the nation is waiting for at this critical time is respite. And observers of the nation's polity are waiting to see if these resolutions are good enough to bring just that to the nation at this critical time. From the National Judicial Council, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The National Security Advisor, General Mohammed Babagana Monguno, says the Buhari administration will demonstrate zero tolerance for political thuggery and illegal possession of firearms under any guise before, during, and after the general elections. General Monguno stated these at a meeting with members of the Nigeria Governors Forum in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Over the years, elections in Nigeria are always followed by violent clashes and sometimes loss of lives and property. This informed this election security assessment meeting between the National Security Advisor and the Nigeria Governors Forum. General Babagana Monguno explained that recent intelligence reports have indicated plans by some individuals and groups to instigate violence during and after the coming elections. While government, through the appropriate institutional tools, is doing all within its powers to create a suitable environment for a peaceful election, the National Security Advisor restated that the security agencies remain neutral, contrary to insinuations by mischief makers.
You are more aware than I am that no individual or group is greater or more important than Nigeria. Accordingly, no individual or group's ambition is worth the loss of life of any Nigerian or our national cohesion.
Chairman of the Governors Forum and Governor of Zamfara State, Abdul Aziz Yari, recommends stronger collaboration and intelligence sharing among security agencies in the country to ensure the protection of lives and property.
We are committed to collaborate with all security agencies to ensure that the forthcoming elections are free, fair, and conducted in an environment conducive for the peaceful election.
21 states, as well as the Acting Inspector General of Police, attended the meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police Service Commission, in collaboration with the Nigeria Police Program, NPP, are scaling up conversations necessary to consolidate efforts to facilitate a free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. At the moment, the Commission says they are finalizing preparations and taking critical look at the deployment of personnel, movement of plans, safety of election materials, including officers and men. Joseph Johnson reports that dominated discussions at the Election Security Summit holding in Abuja.
During elections in Nigeria, the Nigeria Police Force accounts for over 60% of personnel involved in providing security. This year is not an exception, as the Nigeria Police Service Commission has put in place some measures to ensure a peaceful and violence-free general elections. And this stakeholders summit is apt and very timely, as it affords other security agencies the opportunity to crisscross ideas towards enforcing relevant laws and, of course, the needed safety during the elections.
We have on the ground a framework that can ensure delivery of free, fair elections from the perspective of close supervision and provision of security.
First and foremost, we must begin to cultivate the requisite level of value orientation and inculcating in ourselves and tell ourselves that we really need to live in peace.
Police are well prepared. We have a deployment plan that has been developed. We have done a threat assessment across the whole state, working with the Nigerian police and other CSOs, NGOs. And all those flashpoints that have been identified, we are making deployment to see how those can be checkmate.
A common adage has it that a chain is as strong as its weakest link, And that is why the police force is calling for complementary efforts and professionalism from all parties in securing the lives and property of Nigerians during and after the general elections. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Take charge of your future and stop being used as an instrument of electoral violence. This is from the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to Nigerian youths as discussions on violent-free general elections holds in Abuja. Mia Ogide reports.
Quite energetic and with the numerical strength on their side, many see the 2019 elections as an election for the youths. Youths constitute 43 million out of the 84 million eligible voters for the elections. That is 51% of the entire voting population. As characteristic of typical desperate politician, taking advantage of this segment of the population to perfect unholy deals is not far-fetched, and many are worried. So, INEC and our youth ambassadors are having frank talks with youth leaders across the country on the need to be decisive on their choices and not to bow to the pressures of politicians in executing their dirty deals.
Don't be mobilized for doing the wrong things by people whose future is already determined. The future is yours, not for those who may wish, for all manner of reasons, to mobilize you in the wrong direction.
And elections over the years, that someone will just be sent to snatch a box and run away. So this is one thing we should also not allow ourselves to be used for.
Permanent voters card is the most prized commodity at the moment, and INEC has promised to declare the total number of uncollected permanent voters card before the elections to ensure transparency in the process. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Ahead of the 2019 general elections, Nigerians, home and abroad, have been urged to always verify the credibility of the information they receive before sharing as a means of curbing hate speech and fake news. This was at the interface with key players in the political development in Nigeria, organized by the National Human Rights with the MacArthur Foundation. Adebola Brooksland Sunday has the report.
One after another, key regulators and players registered their presence and interest in their quest to curbing hate speech and fake news.
To counter every form of misinformation.
Participants made contributions that will help regulate the spread of what they called instrument of prejudice, capable of inciting electoral violence world over. For the executive secretary of the commission, Tony Ojukwu, the twin devil is capable of giving rise to lack of confidence in the electoral process, mutual distrust, which can affect the outcome of the election.
The Commission is proposing the commissioning of social media ambassadors who will promote activities against hate, fake speech, and election violence as we approach the 2019 general elections.
Victims of such speeches should actually seek redress through judicial processes.
There are gadgets now that can trace the source of any hate speech.
National Broadcasting Commission said it has put in place mechanism to sanction licensees who allow the broadcast of fake news and hate speech.
When you collect those huge sums of money from them, the political parties, you must remember that you have a responsibility to walk the straight and narrow path of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code.
The commitment of the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA, to national unity and cohesion was displayed by the presence of some of its top management staff. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says with active collaboration among countries and development partners, the Lake Chad Basin Commission could be transformed from its present state. Represented by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, at the second Regional Protection Dialogue on the Lake Chad Basin, President Buhari says humanitarian and protection challenges in the Lake Chad region requires urgent action. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
What may not be clear to many concerning the heightened insecurity around the Lake Chad region including Nigeria, is the drying up of Lake Chad, which has affected drastically the people's source of livelihood. In Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states in Nigeria, for example, more than 7 million people are said to be in need of essentials.
While the return of 1.6 million IDPs to their homes in Adamawa and Yobe and parts of Borno State is positive, many others cannot return, nor access of humanitarian assistance available.
The government of Nigeria aims to provide sustainable solutions to those displaced by the insurgency. And as we succeed in ameliorating the plight of the people, the plan envisages that more and more resources will be deployed to increase investments in infrastructure and other facilities so as to also address the other development challenges of the Northeast in a comprehensive manner.
Although Nigeria has done so much and still committed to addressing the various challenges occasioned by the crisis in the region, the president says member countries must not rest on their oars as the people are still exposed to existential dangers.
Every day means more lives endangered. Let us, our governments, our development partners, our local businesses and the private sector recommit today to a speedy implementation of all the objectives of this second dialogue and of course the first. The challenges in this region are an opportunity to change the narratives of misery in the Lake Chad Basin. Let us seize the moment.
The program includes the launch of Nigeria's 2019 to 2021 humanitarian response strategy. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Let's now join Jennifer for top stories from our Lagos Network Center. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Kudu, and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Nigerian maritime industry is projected to grow by 10% between 2019 to 2020. The unveiling of documents for the period stakeholders called for intensified legislative action on the anti-piracy and petroleum industry governance bills to actualize the projected growth. Michael Olaleye reports.
The baseline for the projection is drawn around 3% growth as forecast by the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. An economist, Dr. Doyin Salami, believes global economy is expected to slow down due to trade conflicts between China and the U.S., while the budget environment will be tighter due to rise in exchange rates. Not minding this slow growth, Dr. Salami said maritime service demand will definitely experience growth.
The baseline assumption is that the economy will grow by 3%, and that becomes the basis for driving other parameters.
The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency said asset acquisition and human capital development are important in actualizing the projection.
In terms of shipping services, there will be a lot of imports to our country. Export, there will be an increase in export of gas, especially gas cargo, especially if we complete LNG Train 7.
The Ministry of Transportation is of the view that with the various reforms put in place to promote blue economy for sustainable growth, the sector will be well positioned to harness projected growth.
The federal government has signed an agreement to establish an integrated national security and water protection infrastructure in Nigeria.
The baseline forecast assumed that with 2.4 million barrels per day of oil expected to be produced in 2019 and 2020, there should be corresponding demand in cargo vessels in West Africa. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Security experts and the business community in Lagos have concluded that a safe environment will enhance economic prosperity. It was at the 2019 Security Roundtable organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry to discuss security challenges on business economy. Nenrot Nina Musa has the details.
The gathering, which includes security experts and captains of industries, tagged Security Meets Business, was a platform for exchange of ideas on possible ways of tackling security challenges on the business economy in the country. President, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Babatunde Ruashe, says the meeting became imperative as no business can thrive in an environment perceived as unsafe.
As a business community, we are of the firm belief that we must continue to devise innovative ways to address legacies and emerging security issues.
While representative of the Secretary to the Government of the Federations emphasized collaborative efforts with security agencies to protect the business environment.
This administration took a strong policy stance to address the state of insecurity in Nigeria, so as to provide a safe business environment.
This command will continue to partner with other security agencies that will continue to provide watertight security in the state. The armed forces of Nigeria is responsibility of placing a conducive environment that allows for the development and growth of our national economy.
Participants, however, agreed that issues concluded from the dialogue will help to address the menace of security challenges on all facets of the economy. In Lagos, Nerot Nina Musa, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. More reports ahead with Kudu in Abuja. But first, a break. Please stay with us.
Back to our Abuja studio. JAMB is here with the business news.
Thank you, Mohammed. It will interest you to know that Nigeria moved marginally from 148 to 144 position in the latest Transparency International Corruption Perception Index worldwide, tying with countries like Kenya, Cameroon, Guatemala and Mauritania. This latest ranking also saw the United States of America dropping 4 notches. Nigeria came ahead of Cameroon, which is put at 152. President Muhammadu Buhari last year was appointed the Africa Union Anti-Corruption Champion.
Ranking improving, because if it is improving, it means that a lot of government business is now being controlled. But what is important about the ranking is just to show the behavior of modern democracy and the success they are making, and also the convenience and stability of modern democracies. We have shifted by 4 notches down, meaning that there is little improvement. So that improvement, it matters to international economy.
Oil-producing nations in Africa are proposing establishing a financial agency called Africa Agency Investment Corporation to fund collaborative efforts on the provision of oil and gas infrastructure in the continent. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, was speaking at the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit, NIPS, in Abuja.
Corporation, and the whole idea is to, quite frankly, to mobilize between $1 to $2 billion of resources to begin, quite frankly, to fund within Africa all the essentials that are necessary for us to do proper collaboration.
And that's it on Business News. It's back to Mohammed.
Thank you, Amina. The first ever national survey on drug use has been launched by the Minister of State for Health. It revealed that in 2018, 14,300,000 people in Nigeria used drugs, an increase when compared to the 2016 global annual prevalence of 5.6% of any drug use among the adult population. Chimnimba Ndibusi reports that the United Nations Office for Drug and Crime collaborated with the Federal Ministry of Health, National Bureau of Statistics and other partners to come up with the report, funded by the European Union.
The survey states that 14.4% of Nigeria's population aged between use cocaine, cannabis, heroin, and opiates such as tramadol and cough syrups. 1 in every 4 of these people is a woman. Majority of this group is said to be dependent drug users. 376,000 of this population are high-risk users, and 1 out of 5 of them injects drugs. This group stands at risk of contracting infectious diseases such as HIV, hepatitis, and tuberculosis. Another aspect of the findings is that 76 to 80% of these drug users want treatment but do not have access due to limited treatment centers, cost of treatment, and stigma attached to drug users.
We need to ensure an approach where drug treatment services and prevention efforts are based in the community settings.
National Drug Control Master Plan of 2015 and 2019 is about ready for review. Findings from this survey we infused with the 4th edition being proposed to.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has reaffirmed the suspension of the University of Benin Computer-Based Test Center. A statement by the JAMB in Abuja says the center was suspended following the breach of the code governing the 2019 UTME registration exercise, a move the university claims was taken hastily and without proper investigation. Reacting to the university's position, JAMB Registrar Professor Isaac Oloyede says as a former Vice-Chancellor, he is disturbed by the evidences of extortion of candidates by the university's CBT Center. JAMB therefore advises the University of Benin to do a thorough investigation to identify the bad eggs in the exercise before further development, and if found to be true, the University of Benin should apologize for the infraction committed on the grounds of a highly respected institution as the University of Benin. Asmao in Sokoto has more reports on Network News. Asmao, over to you.
Muhammad, good evening and welcome to Sokoto. Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has challenged those handling the national homegrown school feeding program to see it as public trust and discharge their duties faithfully. He threw the challenge at the stakeholders' engagement and sensitization held in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the story.
The stakeholders' engagement and sensitization campaign brought together education secretaries, school-based management committees, parent-teachers association, cadres from the 23 local government areas of Sokoto State. The aim is to encourage all Nigerians to take ownership of the feeding program in their respective domains.
Because the community knows who and who, they are able to come in fast, they are able to give feedback on what is going on. And that is why they are better positioned to give account of the program in their communities.
The feeding program commenced in Sokoto State in October 2018 with 315,000 pupils enjoying the program, 381 caterers employees, while more than 400 million naira has been expended in the state alone. Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar, represented by District Head of Godabawa Muhammad Lawal Zanyana, commended the federal government for initiating the feeding program. He charged those handling the feeding to see it as a trust, hence the need to be God-fearing in the discharge of their duties. The sensitization campaign ended with a rally at Sokoto Central Market and other places. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Supporters of All Progressives Congress in Sokoto South Senatorial Zone have reaffirmed their resolve to vote for all APC candidates during the February-March 2019 general elections. They gave the assurance at the party. Muhammad Nasir reports.
APC supporters from the several local governments that constitute the zone converge on the Tambol Stadium to show their total support to the party candidates. Speakers at the rally went to memory lane to remember how Ali Umaga Takarda administration transformed the area through prohibition of roads infrastructure, prohibition of health facilities to all the whites, establishment of schools, provision of ambulances, establishment or renovation of 210 mosques in Tambol alone, as well as electrifying many towns and villages. They stress the need for people from the zone to reciprocate the gesture by voting all APC candidates.
And for what you have seen today, you don't need any further question. You don't need anybody to tell you that this zone belongs to APC.
People of Tambol local government has spoken and has spoken with one voice, and that is APC.
During the rally, some PDP supporters defected and joined APC. The decampees include Chairman National Union of Road Transport Workers for Tambol Local Government, Chairman Coalition of Political Parties Tambol Local Government, and PDP Ward Chairman for Tambol Shere Wards, among hundreds of their followers. Members of Meti Allah, led by State Treasurer of the Association Dukko Bako, also reaffirmed support of Plani to the APC. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. It's back to Muhammad in Abuja for more on Network News. Good evening.
Thank you, Asma'u. Time now for another break. Don't go away. That concludes Network News for tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Muhammad Kuda Abubakar. Good night.